Hey Libra, welcome to your reading for April. Let's jump in and see what April has in store for you guys. Hope you all are doing well. Messages for Libra. That came out fast, Libra. I have resolve. This is a period of indecision and inner conflict, and it is time to make a decision. Okay, Libra. So you might be facing some things in your life that you're beginning to kind of question, or maybe, you're beginning to just question it on your own accord. And you're just kind of maybe in a place where you're starting to, see what is feeling good to you and what is not. This can even be indicative of relationships, jobs, familial relationships. It can really stretch across the board of really anything, Libra, okay? So it looks to me like you're in a state of contemplation right now and really evaluating your life, your overall happiness and well-being, and what's important to you and what is not. I have ceremony and invocation coming out here, okay? So basically, when this card comes out to me, this is saying that you need to really take time to get quiet so that you can hear your own intuitive guidance on the situation, okay? When things get a little bit out of hand, a little bit chaotic, a little bit stressful, maybe you're not really sure, you start to kind of go in and out and pivot back and forth in regards to what you should do and what the answers are. Maybe things aren't so clear to you, and your heart and your mind are kind of having a little bit of a duel here about what to do. What they advise you to do most of the time is to just kind of take time to detach healthfully in a way that is conducive to your own well-being, so that you can kind of go into a little bit of a hermit mode, so that you can then begin to receive your own inner guidance and hear it more clearly. You can begin to weed out your garden of thoughts so that you can separate your own thoughts from those of others, or what you should be thinking, or doing, okay? So let's take a look further into this, Libra, and see what else is taking place here for the month of April for you. Messages for Libra. I have vulnerability and empathy coming out here, Libra. Okay, so what this is telling me is that, you need to just have a little bit of time and space to be able to be gentle with yourself, okay? And also, you need to be able to come from a place of, vulnerability in this situation and have a little bit of kindness and compassion for yourself and for others in this particular situation that's taking place in your life, or things that have just kind of been troubling you for some time, okay? So what this means is that you may be inadvertently blocking yourself. So sometimes, like, for instance, when we go into a new relationship, there's a place of vulnerability that we need to get into in order to even open ourselves up to someone new. So if we're constantly putting, some old patterns, old situations, old experiences that we've had that were negative in our life with other people and other relationships, and then we kind of like put that on this new person, we inadvertently block what could come up with that person, what good things could actually happen. We then block our emotions. We don't allow ourselves to really open up. We then just kind of come off, shut off, we come out like a little bit shut down, a little bit closed off, and maybe that person gets a little bit of mixed signals with us, okay? So you need to just kind of have a little bit of kindness and grace and compassion for yourself at this time and the situation itself until you get more clear on what's actually happening here, okay? So there is passion and pleasure, savor your life. So this is taking, you to a place where you need to really focus on your own joy and your own happiness, Libra, okay? So when you begin to kind of take your, you shift your energy and your focus from outside of you to inside of you and what brings you joy and happiness, and not worry so much about other people, let them tend to themselves, then you can get into a place where you are, able to get more clear on things, okay? So you may need to take some time out to just do some things that you love, and give yourself some time and grace to get really clear on this before you make any decisions, okay? Because it's telling me that you're in a state of kind of contemplation where you're going back and forth in regards to what to do regarding a specific situation, or, in general in your life, okay? Let's get some tarot and get a little more detail on what might be taking place here, Libra, okay? So let's get the overall energy for April for Libra, please. I have the Empress. So the overall energy here for the month of April for you, Libra, is the Empress. Now, this is telling me again that you are in a place where things are wanting to come forward for you. You have some seeds that you planted, some intentions that you have, the way you want your life to be, and you want to bring forth those new things and new experiences and people. But you might be kind of inadvertently, again, struggling to really find your footing here, okay? You may even be inadvertently blocking yourself, like I had said, where maybe you're, pushing to do things and hoping that this will get results. And you're just kind of dipping your toe in every, possibility. But really, it needs to be a place where you're coming from, a place where you can make a wise decision that will guide you in the way to go forward so those things can come forth. This is also a card that is telling me that it's important right now for you to take time to love and nurture yourself and give yourself time and grace, okay? Let's take a look at the recent past for Libra. Recent past, please. Okay, I have the Emperor and the Nine of Swords. So this tells me that, there is a situation that you're in where the energy here in the previous weeks or months, you've been kind of struggling a little bit with some anxiety about how to move forward and take charge of your life. Maybe you haven't felt as confident as you have been before. Maybe, things just aren't playing out the way that you had hoped they would. Maybe, you started out feeling really fierce and confident and knowing where you're going, know what direction you're heading, and you started heading that way, started making progress, and then boom, things just kind of fell apart or started to feel really wrong for you, okay? So this tells me that there's a little bit of anxiety that's holding you back and really taking charge of your life, either for the first time or once again, okay? That's here looming in your recent past, okay? Let's take a look at your present energy, Libra. Present energy for Libra for April. I have the Hierophant coming out for your present energy, Libra. Okay, so this is telling me here that, there are some things that maybe you've really contemplated about. When the Hierophant comes out, it can be a card that we're either seeking advice and guidance from someone that wise and that we trust. This can be a counselor, a therapist. This can even just be a very significant friend that's, maybe you deem as being kind of an old soul and, you're seeking advice and guidance from them right now. This can also be a card that is indicative of the fact that, you are questioning a lot of some of the old structures in your life. Now, with the Emperor and the Nine of Swords being in your recent past, this is telling me that you might have even had a little bit of a run-in or conflict with someone of authority. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be someone of authority like a judge or someone in a uniform. It can also be a person of authority that could be like your boss. Maybe your boss really challenged you in a way that made you kind of question a lot of things. Maybe you questioned even what you were doing or why you were doing it. Maybe you were asked to do things that you weren't necessarily comfortable with. So, you need to really place these energies where they belong, Libra, because you're going to kind of know what your personal situation is, especially in a general reading. I'm tapping into a general energy, and this can be a variety of things that are taking place for multiple, people in different places in their life. Okay, so you need to really just kind of take what resonates and leave the rest, but kind of fill in the blanks where you're getting the gist of what I'm talking about here. But it looks like there's some kind of authoritative figure of some kind or someone of influence to you that has made you really question your morals, your background, what you've always known to be true, or what you've always believed in. This can even be something as significant as you were raised, say, religious. Maybe you were raised a devout Catholic and you've grown up this way and it instilled a lot of, beliefs in you that maybe now you're beginning to question and wonder if these things are true, if they're still relevant to you in your life, and if this is still a path you wish to go down, or maybe choose differently, okay? So put, again, this situation where it belongs, Libra. These don't necessarily have to be exactly what's happening for you, but the energies are still relative the same. So place them where they belong in your life, okay? Use discretion always. Let's take a look at the near future for Libra for April. Near future, please. I have the Two of Swords here in the near future. Okay, Libra, this is telling me that in the near future, if you can kind of begin to question some of these things that feel good to you, things that don't, things that resonate with you and what no longer does, and what fits your life and where you want to go, you're going to get to a place where you're going to kind of like shut yourself off and begin to say no. So what this is putting you in a position where you're going to learn to shut yourself off and tap into your intuition before you're doing anything or making decisions that maybe are being influenced indirectly by other people outside of you or from things in the past that you kind of grew up believing and now you're starting to question. But you're going to learn to kind of protect yourself and tap into your own personal energy and get more clear on where you want to go, what you believe in, and what you want to do. Okay, so you're going to be able to more confidently say no to those situations, people, and places and things that just do not serve your highest good. Okay, let's take a look at some advice for you, Libra. Advice for Libra, please. I have the Two of Pentacles coming out for you, Libra. And this is telling me here that the advice here is to just kind of stay balanced. Just make sure that you kind of take a step back from some things, in a healthy way, detach from them the best way that you can so that you can become more clear on what is true and what is not, so that you can find your own truths within and begin to exercise no as being a full sentence and say yes to the things that feel good to you. Okay, so this is advice here that they're giving you right now is to stay very, kind of try your best to juggle things the best way you can, while at the same time trying to explore through these situations and find what's true for you. But you need to get out of this place of like, here, no, yes, no, there, what am I doing? And, going in and out of these decisions, and indecisions and being in this constant place of just stagnancy and stuckness. And it's really advising you to say, very clearly what you want to regain a sense of control and balance in your life. You have control and balance in your life. You are in control of the things that take place, and you need to be confident in the fact that you can do that. Okay. Especially with the sign of Libra, y'all are always just trying to kind of find that balance in life. And I don't blame you. That really is the key to a very happy, successful life, is just really learning that art of balance in all things. Okay. And that doesn't mean that it's easy. It's quite challenging, but this, advice that's being given to you, Libra, is just saying, hey, you need to take some time to get very clear so you know which way to go. And you can make an actual solid decision and one that feels good to you, so you can get out of this place where you're just kind of going back and forth in and out. Okay. So let's take a look at what's hidden, Libra, and see if there's anything that I can bring clarity on for you, or that might prove helpful for you that you're not seeing. What's hidden? I have the Ten of Swords. Okay, so this isn't really surprising to me, Libra. Especially right now in the month of April, we're really closing out some very significant karmic cycles with the planetary shifts. And so this is telling me that, in the past, you've really experienced a lot of pain and hurt and traumas from people, whether this be words or actions or all of the above, especially with the Ten of Swords. That is not an easy energy to get to. This is very painful, very trying. And usually it happens, through some time. They can say it even happens with like the death of 1,000 paper cuts. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one extreme trauma, which it can be, some real, stabbing you in the back, whether it's from one person, one situation, or multiple situations over time, or whether this is just something that is just kind of like little at a time, just taking little jabs at you. And now it's just at a point where it's just wreaking havoc on you. And you're trying to say, you know what, enough. This just really is not making me feel good. I'm done here. Well, now what do I do? Okay. So what's hidden here is just saying that there is a lot of pain. And there have been a lot of hurts, but it's really up to you, Libra, to get clear on those things of what really is meaningful to you, so that you can then begin to shift your focus on yourself, so that you can make yourself happy and take control of your life and the experiences and the people that you have and come across. Okay. Let's take a look at what you don't see coming in the month of April. What don't they see coming? I have the King of Cups. So what you don't see coming here, Libra, in the month of April is telling me that you are going to get to a place of emotional satisfaction here. You're going to calm those emotions down by calming the mind down, because you're going to get more clear on what feels good to you and what doesn't. And then you're going to be able to make very solid, stable decisions on what's good for you and what's not. And you're going to be able to confidently be able to remove yourself from any situations or people that do not feel good to you. Okay. And as you do that, over time, you will begin to feel better and better and better and better. And those tumultuous emotions will begin to settle and go down to a very beautiful calmness and stillness within you. Okay. But you really need to take the time to be very decisive now, get very clear, get in your own mind, your own heart, your own energy, and get very, very, very clear on what it is you want and what it is you don't, and be confident enough to say no and have that be a full sentence. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, I have the Queen of Swords. So this is telling me that, yeah, you just need to get into an energy of kind of like off with your head. The Queen of Swords is just no nonsense, no business. She's been through a lot. She's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. She's not messing around, and she doesn't deal with anyone messing around either. So she's quick to cut you off. And she's also quick to let you in. If she knows that you are of honor and integrity and truth, then she'll let people get close to her. But she knows what she wants in her world. She's very, very clear, very decisive, and very well thought out, and clear in what she speaks. And when she says no, she means it. Okay, Libra. So, good luck to you here in the month of April. I think you've got this. Don't worry. It seems a little bit scarier than what it is, but, have confidence in knowing that you've got this. You can do this. Just stay strong. Go with what feels good to you and what doesn't. It's pretty easy to feel your way through those things and be confident in your decisions. Okay. So I hope you found this reading to be helpful. And until I see you again, take care.